So, hello and welcome to my presentation on the event that me and Kane ran in the Fenton. Just going to be going over what we think went well, what I think went poorly, what we could have done better, and so just some general points about the event. So let's get started. So, just a brief summary of what our event was. It was advertised as the Great Big Bug Variety Show, and the general idea behind it was to showcase various art forms and artists, a lot of lower down artists, not that popular yet, um, based around in and around Leeds. We wanted to give a contemporary take on the variety shows and working men's clubs. That was a big inspiration for us, the variety shows and working men clubs, and we tried to keep as much of that in our show as possible while giving it a new spin and something new for people to enjoy. Um, as I say, that give attendees a unique experience, something they'd never see before, something they're not too they haven't seen that often. And just a quote about it: would deliver a great customer experience to enhance engagements for future events. Just a quote that I think, or that we think, applies. So we'll go over our problems in planning this specific event. The big one, the big one that we fell into was Wharf Chambers. They took forever to reply to our request, and that was our desired location was to do it in Wharf Chambers. They just took forever, and we couldn't rely on them, so we had to go with other problems. The problems with Yeah, we also had problems with other venues not getting back to us. For example, Belgrave. I think we had an issue with Hyde Park Pub with being booked up around the time we wanted it. Um, we also struggled to find artists for our event because due to the time or the date that we set out for it, it was right when finals were. So as all of our artists are uni students, a lot of the ones we were looking at were uni students. There was a bit of friction there in trying to get artists. And then another problem, which was a big one, which kind of changed the overall feel of the event towards the end on the night, was comedians and fashion designers not getting back in touch with us, or as it says here, even reading our messages. So we really wanted to showcase more forms of art than we actually ended up doing, um, but I still think we had a good range in there. This would have made it a better range if we had comedians and fashion designers in there as well, but obviously some things aren't possible. So just going to go into an evaluation of our marketing campaign now. Our campaign had a recurring theme with fonts and layouts of announcements, which I think helps build an image and a bit of rapport with the event for fans if they're continuously seeing the same font and style to our posts. It really kind of brings it all together. We reached over 3,000 accounts with our sponsored post, which is a very good amount of engagement, especially for an event as small as our one was. However, it was quite vague, so we did struggle with. We didn't get as many people or many ticket sales from the sponsor post as we could have done. Um, the link on our sponsor post went to our link tree, and it lacked theory of the 3-click rule, um, meaning I think people had to click too many times to get to the place, get to the event. And that can be a bit of a stumbling block. That may be why we didn't sell as many tickets online as possible. But yeah, and again, the timing of our announcements was off. I think we were quite late with a lot of the stuff we announced, so it didn't give people a lot of time. It didn't give a lot of time for the hype to really build up around the event. If we move on to the next page, somehow. So, what do we do well? I think we adapted well to the problems faced because, again, a lot of people didn't get back to us in the start, so we had to react quickly to get this thing organised in time. Um, Even though it wasn't exactly how we intended it from the start, I think the people going still had a good time. we had a good amount of attendee retention, meaning a lot of the people who came stayed for the entire night, which was obviously a positive. People seemed to enjoy themselves. The attendees did respond well to the strange ideas. Again, you don't normally see. Pie time was a great success. Everyone enjoyed their pies. And we got people interested in our gig. Yeah, as it says, even though there were several other events on the same night, we did get a fair few people coming. Obviously, it was a Saturday night in Leeds in May. It was a lot of stuff going on, but I think we managed to get a fair few people here, few people there, and I think they all, yeah, as I said, they all enjoyed it. So, what could we have done better? Um, we definitely should have got in touch with more venues to start off with instead of putting all our eggs in the basket of Wolf Chambers. Obviously, it was the venue that we wanted most. It was our ideal venue, but I think instead of waiting all that time for them to reply, we should have kind of gone out and got more venues, spoken to more venues, seen what was possible. We should have recognised the timing of the gig. It was around finals week, and a lot of the artists, well, all of the artists we were talking to were uni students. So there's a big reason why we couldn't get as many artists as we wanted to, or many different art forms as we wanted to, because a lot of people had a lot of stuff going on. Very busy week for most people. And that probably also impacted the amount of people that came to the event because of obviously the amount of work everyone was doing at that moment. Um, we definitely could have had a more structured timing scheme to the announcements. It was fairly random. Definitely didn't do as many announcements as we could have done. Um, and I think we could have got a better venue. The venue was cool. It was good. It was cheap, and it did the job, but it was quite small. Um, and there wasn't a lot of room for all of our ideas. So yeah. So what would we do differently if we were to put this event on again? We've alluded to it a lot over this presentation, but I think it's probably one of the biggest points. We would get a more suitable venue. I think the venue didn't really fit the concept of the event that we were going for. We were looking for more of a large scale event, and it just really wasn't quite up to that. It was small. The sound system was cool. It all worked smoothly, but it just wasn't big enough. It didn't have the facilities to really facilitate what we were trying to do. Another thing we could have done is go to comedy shows and fashion events to make clear networks with people. I think this is a big one because I think we struggled with not knowing enough comedians or fashion designers when trying to book artists to do this at our event. I think if we'd had more contact with them, even if, well, yeah, we would have had much more chance of booking these artists and making it more of a real variety show, having a, because we had one spoken word poet and then three musical elements to it, so we could have had more variety involved. We could also have got a structured timeline for marketing. Again, we've alluded to this before, but it is a big point. I think we could have marketed it better if we put more time in and, as I say here, got a structured timeline for when we were going to do it. And I think a big thing for us was we should have sorted out artists earlier than we did. It kind of limited us with like the amount of artists we could have done, we could have got, or we did get, and the different type of artists we got. So I think if we sorted it out earlier, a lot earlier, we would have been fine. I think we would have had much more variety in our lineup. And to just finish it off, we've got an overall evaluation of our event. Although we did have a few slip ups in the stressful planning, the night was a success. We made a profit, the attendees enjoyed the night, and all the acts were incredible. They all performed exceptionally. They were absolutely quality. Everyone had a great time. Um, as it says here, the only problem we had was to do with the venue itself. But overall, it was a fun night. Everyone enjoyed themselves. I had fun, Ken had fun, and yeah, it was a success, I'd say. I think the profit is a big thing that we weren't expecting. To make a profit on a small event like that, it was massive for us, I think. So we did really well. And there is just the bibliography for the quotes used in this presentation.